One of the biggest mistakes that students make every single year in English language is technique spotting. Students will just pick out techniques, but they don't talk about the effect. So they might pick out a metaphor, but they won't tell me the impact or the effect of that metaphor. So I'm gonna give you an example and I'm gonna show you how we'd actually up-level it to make sure we're talking about the effect. For example, the writer uses alliteration to show the character feels sad. That is a bad example because that is technique spotting. They've just given me a technique of alliteration, but they've not told me anything else about it. So what we want to do is we want to state the technique, we want to state the effect of the technique, and then why we've said that. So you should actually know the effect of majority of techniques, because then it's super easy in the exam that when you pick out a technique, you can just put it with the effect and then link it to whatever you're talking about. So if you don't know the effect of any techniques, just go onto the notes section on the Light Up Hub and go on to language or structure techniques. And then you'll see on here, there'll be the effects of each technique and explanation and like how to use it in a sentence so you can actually see how to do it. Okay, so now let's look at how we're gonna up-level it. So if I know that the effect of my technique of alliteration is to emphasize something, I'm gonna make sure I state that technique, I'm gonna state the effect of it, and then I'm gonna explain why I've said that. So this is how I changed the original sentence. The writer uses alliteration to emphasize, you can see that is the effect of the technique, that the character feels sad because she is in an inescapable state of melancholy due to her loss of both her identity and her sister. So you can see what I've done there. I've stated the technique, which is alliteration. I've spotted the technique. Then I state the effect, which is to emphasize something. And then I explain why. So you can see there, when I've said because, it helps me explain why. And that's a little top tip. If you do struggle with analyzing and explaining why, just use because or as, and it will literally force you to explain, because you can't put because at the end of a sentence and not finish it. And then that will just make you explain your reasoning. And that is how to avoid technique spotting. And that is going to save your English language grade.